What I found is that most people describe charts and tables and graphs using numbers in English in a very simple way. They say things like, it went up or it went down. Well, that's okay. It's correct, but it doesn't really sound confident. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to describe the same chart three different ways at a kind of a low level of confidence level, then maybe an average level of confidence, and then something at a higher level, like something a native English speaker would say. By the end, you'll hear how a few word changes can make your English sound instantly more professional. Here's our chart. It shows company sales from January to June. The numbers rise from 100 in January to 450 in June. Let's start with the way most people describe this chart when they're not confident. This chart shows our sales from January to June. Sales went up every month. They started at 100 and finished at 450. Now, all of that is correct, but it sounds a little flat, especially the way I did it, where I had no confidence. I had no feeling, no emotion. I was just reading the chart, not showing any confidence in what it means. This is where most people start, and that's completely fine. But we can make it much, much better. And I find this with my clients all the time. When they have meetings, they have to describe things that include numbers, charts, tables, graphs. And it's so hard for them. So we spent a lot of time doing this, and that's why I decided to make this video for you. Let's increase this at a little higher level here. Maybe we'll call this the kind of the average confidence level. And it might sound something more like this. This chart shows how our sales increased from January to June. Sales increased steadily from 100 in January to 450 in June. There was consistent growth throughout the first half of the year. Now that sounds more confident, right? You're using clear business vocabulary. Increase steadily, consistent growth. You're not just like a robot and reporting something. You're explaining it, and it really is effective for your audience. What if we took this same chart and we brought it up another level? Maybe we call this the high confidence, or something that native English speakers would say. And I want to be clear about something. There's two reasons why we want to do this. One is to help you so that you're not always saying the same words over and over when you're describing numbers for your work. That's one reason. The second reason is listening. Because if you're listening to a native speaker and they're using these kind of words that you're going to hear next and you don't understand them, oh, you're in trouble because you don't understand what's going on in the meeting. Of course, you can see the numbers on the page. So somebody's giving you a chart or a table or a graph and you can see it. But if they're using certain words and you don't understand it, or maybe the chart is not in front of you, even worse, trouble. Really difficult to listen. So I don't care if you use these words right now, but I want you to be aware of them because this can really, really change everything for you and make it just so much better. So let's take a look here. We go to the high confidence level, something a native speaker would say, and it would sound just like this. This chart illustrates a strong upward trend in our sales over the first 6 months of the year. Sales climbed steadily, rising from 100 to 450 units. Growth accelerated between March and April, and then leveled off slightly toward June. Now that sounds really professional and confident. You're really talking about the data. You're not just reading it. You're showing that you understand what's happening and you're kind of telling it like it's a story, which is what it is. You want to be able to describe things, numbers. You want to be able to go through and do this in kind of a story to explain your company's situation to whoever you're talking to. It really works well. What if I went over some vocabulary here? Because there's some of these words I know that some of you, or maybe all of you, don't know. Climb is a word that kind of means I got to climb the stairs or I've got to climb a mountain. It means to go up step by step. It's a really nice word in a chart, a graph, a table. Accelerate. Well, it means that you're going a certain speed and then, woo, you go faster at some point. That's what it means. You start going faster. Great word to describe some numbers. To level off. Now, many of you know the phrase to level up. I need to level up my business English. To level off can mean things were rising or even they were falling. And so let's use the example. They were rising and then they kind of leveled off and they stayed the same after some time period. That's what level off means. Something like a plateau, if you know a plateau. Okay? What about we look at the word gradually? Now, I used this word earlier, and this is a really, really great word. And I want you to know, gradually. Put the word you in there. You did this, you did that. Gradually. Gradually. It means slowly, step by step, over time. So instead of saying it went up slowly, you can say it increased gradually. It's a beautiful, confident word. And native speakers use it all the time when describing trends. All right, so let's review here a little bit. Let's listen to the 3 levels again. And we're describing the same exact things, but using 3 different levels. So same chart, same numbers, but completely different confidence levels. All right? You don't need to memorize everything you heard today. Just practice. Just use one new phrase each week. It works out great. Instead of went up, start saying something like increased. Then, from there, you can maybe make it a little more sophisticated and say rose steadily. Then try climbed gradually. Each small step makes your English sound more confident and more natural. So again, here are the 3 different ways to say this, okay? This chart shows our sales from January to June. Sales went up every month. They started at 100 and finished at 450. Let's step it up a little bit, see what we can do. Can we make this a little better? How about this? The chart shows how our sales increased from January to June. Sales increased steadily from 100 in January to 450 in June. There was consistent growth throughout the first half of the year. Now that's really nice. I would love if you'd be able to present numbers like that. Now you might hear this from a native speaker. This chart illustrates a strong upward trend in our sales over the first 6 months of the year. Sales climbed steadily, rising from 100 to 450 units. Growth accelerated between March and April, then leveled off slightly toward June. How about that? Give this a try. Try to really level up your business English when you're trying to use numbers to describe charts, graphs, and different things like that. Give it a try. See what happens. Let me know what you think. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share your comments, and I also invite you to learn your Business English Confidence Score. You'll find the link in the description below this video.